think they really thought at one point that it could have alien involvement. They really, final conclusion of it all, they just really came to the point where they thought that it needed more investigation.
This led to the investigation headed by Kenneth Rommel, who retired from the FBI in May 1979, and shortly afterwards assumed the role of Director of Investigations for Operation Animal Mutilation for the state of New Mexico.
He looked at many cases, and he was fairly open-minded with his investigation from the report that I've read.
Rommel had hundreds of historical and current cases to investigate.
Somehow I think his opinion what happened changed throughout his tenure with the New Mexico government.
Cattle mutilation researcher Linda Howe had a first-hand experience with one.
We get into the office at 10 o'clock, and I'm there to do an interview as a reporter with an investigator working for the state of New Mexico. And we sit down and we're getting ready, and first thing he says to me, you know, I'm going to prove that this is nothing but prejudice.
After 1 year of research, Rommel submitted his final report. It stated, after laboriously weighing and analyzing the evidence, I've come to the conclusion that the vast majority of mutilations are caused by predators and scavengers.
All of these people are doing stories about what is this mystery that is stopped from occurring.
The subject transitioned from a rural myth to front-page headlines. News reports elevated the phrase cattle mutilation into the lexicon for strange, unexplained, and paranormal research. Cattle mutilations, like most UFO-related phenomena, U.S. government conspiracy since the days of the Roswell incident.
It's hard to imagine why the United States government, for any reason, would go out and mutilate economic. And if they did so, why they would do so would be the work of predators.
The government theory doesn't make sense because the head of the Colorado Bureau of Investigation had said to me, if the CIA, NSA, DIA, FBI, if they were all involved in animal mutilations for some overt government project, they just go out and buy what they need. They just take them to one of the military bases. They would do whatever they're going to do, and no one would know.
We can't prove that the government's involved in this. We can't say that there's extraterrestrials involved in this. We can't say that there are even extraterrestrials out there. They haven't landed on the White House lawn yet.
But Linda Howe has seen too many dead animals to subscribe to the government's position that all unusual deaths are the act of predators. Perhaps an answer to the question of alien involvement can be derived from the Fargo case. When we return, there is shocking news. A second cow is down. And this investigation reveals what eyewitnesses saw.
Yeah, you didn't see an airplane, so the only thing you were seeing was that white light.
That's right.
Oh, Walker.
August 25th, 1904. Jurgens Ranch, Farnham, Nebraska. Cattle mutilation research expert Linda Moulton Howe completes her photo documentation of the area near the dead cow. Then, she carefully collects samples of the surrounding vegetation.
And I want to make sure that I'm giving enough green
I get 'em?
chlorophyll because there's a very accurate test having to do with the measurement of the metabolism in anything that is growing with chlorophyll to see if there has been an impact on the mitochondria.
Elementary science describes chlorophyll as green growth matter in plants, whereas mitochondria contains the genetic material of vegetation. Howe wants to learn if these microscopic components were altered. So she records the
Asking to
locations and labels each of the
almost
grass samples
victory.
she takes from around the body.
I'm taking about 75 feet north of the body. 75 to 100 feet is about as far out as, or as close to the body as you want to get when you are doing controls, trying to find what is the normal soil and grass. And then I'm going to walk in a ring around to the west. And about the same distance from the body, straight west.
She uses this same method of collecting and recording evidence as she gathers soil samples from the site. Then, armed with a strong magnet, she delicately tries to attract any iron material from the ground surface near the cow.
And I'm going to drag the magnet around the animal, and I'm going to go out in a spiral and see if we get any particles coming into this ground. Sometimes we find magnetite, which is unusual at some of these scenes. And in some of these cases,
Oh, I
around
remember you
mutilations
from
and
last
crop
race, Victor.
circles,
Don't
what
you
we
worry.
have found is 750 times more magnetite that
Oh,
clings to a magnet than in normal soil. And that's why we do this, because if we get a big number, then we'll know something strange happened. And after I have done this, I'll put this magnet back in the plastic bag so that anything that I have collected will stay in the bag, and they will examine all of this under a microscope back at
oh, fucker.
Office 11 Goods Lab.
Oh yeah, somebody got hit hard there.
Magnetite is the highly magnetic form of iron oxide. Magnetite is very black, solid, crystalline form.
Magnetite is found all over the globe. Indications of higher concentration found sites associated with UFO activity may be an important scientific finding.
And the fact that we find these changes in grass and plants that are very similar in some cases, we're wondering if some kind of similar technology is involved, and if so, whose and why.
Howe soon turns her focus on the two curious holes found in the cow's upper body.
Continuing out with something that's really closer to about an
You
eighth
try
of
to
an
poke
inch.
your finger or pencil through her eye.
Yeah, exactly. Now,
No.
don't be like this second hole. And when they did the necropsy on that one in Colorado, that was one of the cows when they found that the heart muscle was totally removed from inside the pericardium. Pericardium was intact, and the only thing that they could figure out was somehow that quarter-inch hole had something to do with what happened inside the cow.
Could this hole actually be a conduit that leads to the heart?
It's all muscle.
Oh,
muscle
you
and
cunt,
connective
Victor.
tissue, other elastic tissue, and
Whoa.
the pericardial sac. I've not seen a situation where the heart actually just became soft mush and the pericardial sac was not affected.
With the help of the rancher, an important section of the cow's hide with the small holes is cut and removed for further analysis.
Now, let's bring this out here on the ground and see if we've got, let's lay that down and see now if we can find that second hole any easier. It should have been somewhere.
I did. No, that's it. Oh, did it?
After several hours of investigation, the team receives word that a nearby rancher has just discovered another cow down. They rushed to a remote canyon on his property 7 miles away.
And you just saw this today?
This morning, yep.
Well, she could have died last night.
She could have. She could have been here, as far as I know, 48 hours is just my guess. Because I didn't see anything sitting here yesterday. I could have just.
So it couldn't be 48 hours. It'd have to be between last night and now.
Hal and the others find a similar scenario. She photo documents the second cow and interviews the second rancher. Considering this as another hidden canyon, she is intrigued by the similarities of the two cases.
The most classic part of this is the one missing teat and the missing tongue that we can't see it in the mouth at all.
The disappearance of the tongue is not easily explained.
A predator's not going to be able to latch onto a tongue and tear it off unless it's really rotten, decomposed. What they typically do is bite away at it a little bit at a time. And they just keep pecking at it. If it's a bird, if it's a small rodent, they're just going to keep chewing at it. One explanation for the tongue being back in the mouth, that it was out, and as the other tissue starts to contract, it may pull it back into the mouth.
What's your take on this deal? Some wacko doing wild stuff?
It'd have to be a wacko that had access to the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere in every country you can think of. It's worldwide. It's been going on since at least the 50s. And nobody has ever once been arrested or arraigned on an animal mutilation charge. Not anywhere in the world.
From interviews with these ranchers revealed there have been reports of some of the local residents hearing strange noises and seeing lights in the sky the night in question.
I was in there, and I was asleep and startled out of a deep sleep by a loud noise. It sounded like an airplane or a helicopter or something going over the house. It almost scared me enough to think that it was going to run into me.
And how long do you think you lay listening to?
It was probably 30 to 40 seconds. It was almost like a helicopter, but I wouldn't say it was totally like one. Just real loud, like a loud airplane. I was right next to the road where there's trucks and vehicles going up and down the road, and it didn't sound like any of those.
Strange, though.
Strange. Scary.
Stories of the unidentified flying object were recorded many miles away from the ranches where the mutilated cattle lie.
That it sounded like an aircraft coming in low, because it was a loud rumbling sound, and it lasted for a while. And then he came in about that time, and I asked him what that was, and he went outside.
And Dan, what did you see when you went out?
Didn't see it, but I did see a white light going that way, and a low flying. Had to be an airplane.
So the only
I didn't see an airplane.
yeah, you didn't see an airplane, so the only thing you were seeing was that white light.
That's right.
With the field investigation complete, the samples are immediately sent to laboratories in Michigan and Pennsylvania for forensic analysis. When we return, the test results. 2 weeks after the Nebraska cattle mutilation investigation, researcher Linda Howe met with Dr. W.C. Levengood at the Pinelandia Biophysics Lab in
Yeah.
his findings of soil samples she collected in Farnham. He's looking for microscopic balls of black magnetite and iron oxide, and the reddish spheres of an iron ore called hematite. which are frequently found in high concentration at cattle mutilation sites.